Hi everyone. So the ATP Finals has finally reached the semi-final stage, and we have two great matchups for today. We have Nadal versus Medvedev. Medvedev has played really well in this tournament, and he's sort of the unexpected semi-finalist, I would say. And of course, Nadal, we know, has fought his way up to the semi-finals. The second match we have is Thiem versus Djokovic, which is again going to be a cracker of a match. Now, every time these two have played, they have been involved in very close matches, and just a few points have decided the outcome. So, a really great end to the year for this ATP Finals, and I think let's discuss these matches one by one. So, first of all, let's talk about Djokovic versus Thiem. And what I want to talk about here is the head-to-head record because that is most important. Now, if you see the overall head-to-head, it is 7 to Djokovic and 4 to Thiem. And even on the indoor hard court and ATP finals, it's just 1 to 1. So it's a very tightly matched rivalry in terms of hard courts because both of these players are great baseliners and they have good shots on both the wings. So Djokovic has one of the best or probably the best two-handed backhands in the game, whereas Thiem has probably the best one-handed backhand after Wawrinka, I would say, in the game. And also, these two guys are great movers, having great fitness levels. So I think it's going to be a really close match, as is always the case between these two. And if you see the last 2 years, Djokovic has won two, Thiem has won two. So there's not much to separate between these two guys. Every match, whether it's on clay or a hard court, and I think most of you guys would have remembered the previous Australian Open final this year. That was also a terrific match, a five-setter, wherein Thiem looked to be the aggressor. I mean, Djokovic started off the first set very well. He was looking to cruise. Then in the second set and in the third set, Thiem came back and played really good tennis and looked like Thiem would be able to win the match. Djokovic was struggling physically as well. But then somehow Djokovic just stood there and somehow got the fourth set, and then in the fifth set he was in complete control. So there you go. I mean, it's going to be really close between these two guys. And in the last five meetings, Thiem has won three of them. Of course, some of them were on clay, where Thiem is a better player. So a really close match, worthy of a final, I would say, Djokovic versus Thiem, and it's going to come down to who plays well on the day and who plays well on the important points. So we have seen most of their games, most of their matches go to the tie breaks. So definitely, I'm expecting one or two tie breaks even in this match, and whoever wins those eventually will win the match. And I'll predict the winner in the end, but I think it's going to be a close one. Now, the key factors for Djokovic are going to be his serve and his fitness levels. So, in this tournament, we have seen Djokovic struggle with some breathing issues in a lot of matches, and sometimes in between the matches, he looks sort of down and out or lost, but then he comes back with his game. So, I think his fitness is going to be key in this match, and of course, his serve because he doesn't play that aggressive as compared to Thiem or maybe some of the other guys. So he definitely needs to play aggressive on his serve. Otherwise, he can open up the court for the opponent and open up the rally. And then in the rally, I think Thiem also has a good chance to win, unlike the other players. So for Thiem, I would say backhand down the line is the key. We have seen the matches between Djokovic and Wawrinka in the past, and Wawrinka is someone who has really troubled Djokovic in a lot of matches, and that is because of his great backhand down the line. Because Djokovic, if you play cross court to cross court with him, his backhand is so good that he will eventually be able to change the direction of the point and win it. But because Wawrinka is also able to do that, it neutralizes Djokovic's effect on that particular shot, and that is why I think it will be really important for Thiem to use his backhand down the line time and time again to outmaneuver Djokovic, and then he has done that in the past. So I think that would be crucial. And of course, he needs to be aggressive. So we saw in the Australian Open that midway through the fourth set, Thiem started playing a bit defensive, a bit rally game with Djokovic, and that's what allowed Djokovic to stay in the match and then come back later in the end and eventually win the game. So I think for Thiem, it's really important that he continues to play aggressive throughout the match. Even his last match against Nadal, where Thiem uh, was losing in the tiebreak 2-5, suddenly he went on to win that tiebreak. So what was the difference? The difference was that Thiem started playing aggressive. So if you see those points after 2-5, he started going for his winners, started going to open the court and be the dictator in the game, in the point. And that is what is really important even against Djokovic, because if you can play a rally game, if you keep playing the same point, Djokovic is going to be eventually winning because he makes less unforced errors. So I think Thiem has to take his chances and use his backhand down the line as much as possible. As well as Thiem's serve is also important, because in on his serve, if he can put in a good first strike, definitely he can be aggressive and reach the net and close the point there itself. So these are the crucial factors for this match. Now let's talk about Nadal and Medvedev. So again, the head-to-head doesn't look good for Medvedev at all. So there have been three matches between these guys, and Nadal has won all of them. Even in the ATP Finals last year, it was a very dramatic match where Medvedev almost had that match, and I'm sure that memory would be in Medvedev's mind somewhere, and it will definitely impact him, because even though Medvedev is a mentally strong player, he looks to fight much like somebody like Nalbandian, who stays in the match until the end, somebody like Hewitt. But against Nadal in this specific match last year, he was up like 5-1 or 5-2, and then Nadal managed to win that match. That would have definitely hurt Medvedev a lot, and it was in the same court. So let's see how Medvedev deals with that pressure and that loss, and also the fact that he hasn't been able to beat Nadal even once in his three meetings. And all those three meetings have been on hard court, surprisingly, where you would expect that Medvedev would play well and Medvedev would win, but that's not the case. So it's going to be tough for Medvedev to do that, but let's see if he applies a different strategy. So the key factors in this match for Nadal would be the serve and the forehand down the line. So we have seen Nadal's US Open performances in the recent years. He has been able to win those tournaments, and that is because he has improved his serve a lot. He has put in more power in that serve, and then, of course, his forehand down the line, which is the most important shot for him, especially against the players who play a good backhand. Like Medvedev, he needs to be able to use that forehand down the line to open the court, and I'm sure he will do that because he's in a good form right now. And I think for Medvedev, so apologize for the theme written here, but it's Medvedev. So for Medvedev, I think backhand down the line again is going to be important, because that's the shot that is going to outmaneuver Nadal. Because if he keeps going cross court, then Nadal is going to wear him down as he does with every other player. And the same thing applies, like he has to play aggressive, the net game needs to be there as well, and then the serve. So it's going to be really important for Medvedev to start well. We have seen that Nadal, when he starts well, he runs away with the match. So very that's going to be really difficult for Medvedev to control. So I think he needs to start off well, get to the score of like 4 all or 5 all, and then put pressure on Nadal. So one bad game from Nadal can give him the set. So that sort of situation is what Medvedev should aim for, and then probably take it from there. So the predictions, I would go with Thiem in the first match. I would say both the players are playing well, but looking at Thiem's performances in this tournament, I think he has played really well, especially against Nadal. For Djokovic, I think he's the best player in the world and he can always win. But he looks vulnerable somehow to me personally, because whenever I see his match, it doesn't feel like he's winning it comprehensively. Of course, he wins the important points, but then if a player is playing well, if a player is hitting the ball well, I think he can upset Djokovic. So I would go with Thiem for this match. Of course, in three sets, it's going to be a close match. And on the second match, Nadal versus Medvedev, I would go with Nadal because of his record, of his previous record. He hasn't lost to Medvedev yet, and even from 5-2 down, 5-1 down, he has been able to come back in the final set. Now Medvedev is playing well, but somehow I feel that he doesn't play that aggressive, Medvedev, to hurt Nadal. Nadal's defense is very, very good, and for a change, he's playing really aggressive in this tournament. So he's not just comfortable rallying in the point. Nadal is the one who is going for winners, who is trying to move his opponent from one side to the other side. So I think Nadal's chances are far more in this match to win, and that is why I have picked him to win even in straight sets. So let's see what happens, and we'll talk about the finals later. But definitely a good matchup. Both these two matches are going to be really good because all these players are in form. None of the players in this top four, I would say, are out of form or have made it to the semifinals just like that. So they have played well throughout the tournament, and that is why it's a perfect ending to this tournament. So hope you guys like this video, and we'll catch up before the finals as well. Thank you.